a synagogue, a church, or other religious institutions, you can tell them about it. You can, if you you can pass out lit. We have plenty of tools online on 511campaign.org that you can print out. You can hand out stickers. You can get as guerrilla as you want about promoting these things. Recruit a team of skateboarders to, go through UT campus and wallpaper with, wheat paste, which is pretty California, but, I don't want to waste your time on that. But there's all kinds of ways. You can call Katherine Albrecht and say, Katherine, I'm really concerned about what's happening in my community. Is it going to happen to me? And or call up. There are so many ways. You can contact your News 8, your neighborhood television station, and tell them, this is bothering me. How can we stop this? There's so many ways to involve yourself. And then there's the traditional way. Pick up the phone and call your legislator and make them concerned about it, because they're the decision-making parties, and you do have more control in Facebook than you would ever think.
I was wondering, one I think an untapped resource is do brown bag lunches at the tech companies. I mean, there are so many people that come in that really get involved in this stuff.
If anyone's interested, we're planning a protest at Identix Biometrics. And it's something of note about Identix is that it is an L1 Technologies subsidiary. L1 Technologies has the federal contract for all of the biometrics in the passports and the licenses and anything that is a U.S. identifier. Probably told this, but I know for a fact that Identix has the contract for the entire state of Texas's biometrics, and they are sitting right here in Round Rock. So it's that close to you. It's Dell. Well, I don't know if it's Dell exactly, but this is the Silicon Valley of Texas, and it is more important for you Austinites to act on this because you're sitting in these legislators' districts. So the burden on you to make change where technology is involved is heavier on you than any other person in the state. You're going to be making the decisions for the rest of the state. Mark Strama, Diana Maldonado, Dan Gaddis, Tan Parker, Ann Chen Button. These are people in Dallas and in Austin, and some of them in Houston, but they're all on that technology committee, and they need to hear from you if this is not something that you want in your life.
Okay.
Yeah, Judith actually had I was going to talk about social media because that's my area of expertise, but Judith actually said, hey, letters to the editor. Letters to the editor are exceptionally effective in our small town, and your policymakers do read that. One thing that we did, how we got our whole protest offline was through Facebook, through social media. And now that we've got lots of people talking about this online through Facebook, we also have people on MySpace posting bulletins. And people are definitely plugged in. If you look at the literature, people are doing, students are reading Facebook more than they are their textbooks. So if you want to get the word out, that would probably be the most expedient way because you have instant communication. That was exceptionally effective. But I agree, the letters to the editor, that's something your policymakers will be reading more so than Facebook.
4 or 5 more questions, and then we'll cut it off after that.
Hi, Catherine. My name is Babs Warren. Those yellow flowers up there on that table, I picked them for you today. My mother started growing them 40 years ago, okay?
Oh, wow.
So you'll know that we grow things right in Texas, okay?
Thank you.
My mother is dead. She died in 1997. What I wanted to say was, every day of my life, I tell somebody this story, okay? It's what I heard in the 60s. And I'm 76 years old. I was in my 20s when I learned about it. And my mother didn't think that I should tell anybody because they think I was a kook. And I still have people telling me that now, that I was trying to help with the aspartame issue. I heard and I saw, what's his name, Rockefeller talk about the Illuminati. I didn't know what it was. And the top 1% of the people in the world who are associated with the kings and queens bloodlines were going to control us. There were only 300 people in this organization. He introduced Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney said, if you don't remember anything else I've said tonight, remember this. He said, by the time the one world order is in place for a takeover by the United Nations and by the soldiers that are going to be in our country from other countries, there's only going to be a third or a fourth of the entire world alive. Now, what I want to say is, I think all this chipping and everything has to go along with their wanting to depopulate the world, which is what Dick Cheney said that day. Okay? What do you think about that?
Well, I can only speak to what Aaron Russo said, which is, and he told me this story as well that you've probably seen on the internet, and this is that Aaron Russo was told by David Rockefeller, is that right? Yeah, that there really is a plan to chip everybody, that there really is a plan to own us and control us. As far as depopulation goes, I mean, certainly if you look at the sustainable development, which has gone into every county in this country on the county level, the sustainable development plans are actually about reducing population, reducing where we're going to be allowed to live, how much resources we're going to be allowed to consume, and how are they going to control that? Well, they're going to know because you're scanning your frequent shopper card, because you're presenting your RFID tagged driver's license every time you want to drive somewhere in your car. You know, first it's watching, then it's controlling. So they want to know where you go in your car today. Tomorrow they're going to say, you're only allowed 50 miles this month. Use it wisely.
Today's Texas Independence Day.
We in San Marcos want to talk to the woman who was having the issues here in Austin with the microchip, because we're Texans and we stick together when it comes to freedom. So let's make sure we mobilize Central Texas to stop it first regarding our critters, and then we're going to keep them out of the human beings.
I just wanted to tell you, you may take those flowers home, they're for you.
Well, thanks to all of you for taking time away from your families and sharing your knowledge and experience with us. My question is more towards Katherine. Understanding that technology seems to proliferate at geometric rates, do you see nanotechnology being a force in the future with this? I mean, I can just think of some, 1984 scenarios where everything you put in your body has some nano-type technology in it, and everything you pee out or spit out or blood that comes out of you has some type of record in it that might even be biological.
The question, because I think we're having microphone issues, the question is where does this go? Does nanotechnology play a role in the future of this? Will the technology expand exponentially to the point where it encompasses every aspect of our lives? I would say yes. One of the writers who's had a big impact on me, and he's working for the other team fully, is Ray Kurzweil, who wrote the book The Singularity. And it's a big, thick book. It's like 500 pages long. The only part that I found of any value in that book whatsoever was the first couple of pages, where he describes the growth curve for technology. And it's pretty interesting. If you're familiar with an exponential curve, what happens is you start off kind of slowly getting a little bit bigger, and lots of time goes by, and you sort of make little strides. And then you get to the point where it starts curving, and now over a short amount of time it's going up and up and up. And then you get to the point where literally in a day you're having more progress, if you want to call it that, or more of an advance than you had over a period of 1,000 years prior to that. Technology, the growth of technology, is an exponential curve. And I believe, just as does Ray Kurzweil, who by the way, wants us all to become one with the machine. That's his goal, so he's not on our team at all. But I do believe, I agree with him, that we are at this point of the curve. What is happening now in a period of 1 month within technology would have taken 50 years to happen, even just the last span of time we looked at. The reason this is important is that you need to understand, see, we have this human tendency to expect the future to be like the past. And when you look at how long it took to get from, the Wright brothers to the point where we have jumbo jets to the point where we're traveling in outer space, and you say, well, gee, that took about 100 years. Maybe about 60, 70 years. So in 60 or 70 years, then we'll make sort of the same amount of progress. So what you're not understanding is that we're now in this curve. So in 6 or 7 months, we're going to make that kind of progression. In 6 or 7 days, eventually, we're going to make that kind of progression. In 6 or 7 hours after that, we're going to make that progression. expression, in 6 or 7 seconds we're going to be making that kind of technological leap. And when we get to that point, which he calls the singularity, where our technology is growing so quickly that we cannot even comprehend it, then that's the point when many of these futurists believe that we will